Alrighty, so it is time to start on week 9 attendance. And before I get there today, I just finished grading the first round of the lost letters. And the thing I would say to you is the real benefit of submitting on the Monday night due date is you get a chance to review. And the same is going to be true for the next one because we're going to continue with the packages, but now we're going to do dubious delivery. But the other reason I came here today was to talk about a couple of things that are coming at us and just a heads up. One is on these reviews. So you can think of the reviews as they are, and you can think of them as a way to help you prep for a technical interview. So the goal of them has been for you to see how well you can translate a a challenge or a concept into code, SQL code. And so if you're one of those, and I don't know, because this is really one of the things about these reviews, is could you go out and use Gen AI? There's no way for me right now to stop that, but I would want you to know that that's not the intent. The intent would be you take it the first time, you see how well you did, take it again to see if you were then able to understand and write that code correctly the first time. So just that heads up, right, about where we're at, because we're heading into after week 9. So after you get all the way through week 9, you will have the ability to sign up for the technical interview. Now, I have a video, I looked at it last night for the technical interview. And even though it's from last semester, it was all correct. The only thing I changed was the dates of when they start and the ability of doing two, but after a certain date. But anyway, I'm not going to go over that here. I just want you to know all that content is relevant, but in the video you will see different dates from last semester, but everything else pertains. All right, so let's look at week 9 because I have a couple new things I want to talk about. One is that, and this is really, I notice not a lot of you at this point are using late passes, and maybe you don't even know you have to, but you do, which means if you submit something late, you can ask to use one of your passes and I will not take off late points. So the thing I would also have you know is starting this week, you can earn additional late passes, should be passes, by going to see Brianna Rayburn, our tutor, who is listed at the very top here. Now you actually have to go and get help. By the way, one of the great ways to get help is actually to practice talking about, code, SQL with her, or, working through a problem, helping you break it down, or just, something you could do that. Or specifically, maybe this week, planning ahead enough to get help on the dubious delivery, because I noticed several of you struggled with the packages lost letter. The idea there was you had to actually break it down and write the query and have an understanding of what was required. Okay, so just FYI, and you can't just go say hi, you actually have to get help. And then I will work with Brianna to keep those, and then we'll keep track of them somehow. Because I get reports when you go see her. Actually, if you go see her or actually Zach, she's the only one for this class. All right, so important dates. So this is the end of week 9, last day to drop an 18-week class. I talked about that. So at the end of this week is that last opportunity. Now, for your SQL problem set problem set 1, the next one, dubious delivery, we're working on nested subqueries and joins. I will tell you one of the great things about, and I don't require static queries, but one of the great things I find about doing static queries, because it's basically laying, if I do it right, a path to help me write a subquery and then a path to help me write a join, okay? So just know that they're not required, but if you included them, I wouldn't, of course, mark off, and I would give you feedback if you were to submit them for review, okay? So the proof of work, the proof of effort is really, really important. It is the way you show me the effort you've put into getting this work. And so it's worth more points this week for the dubious delivery. So it moves to 45 points. Now, how do I test subqueries? Um, actually, in this case, I should have one ready. So hang on, let me go find that. Okay, so if I was writing a nested subquery and I was looking for, right, this is my nested query, and then this is we could call this my inner query and my outer query. What I would do is if I wasn't getting the results I thought was correct, I would run just this part and see what gets returned and then run it all with the return value that I expected, okay? Because sometimes writing these nested subqueries, it's hard to reason about maybe why something doesn't give you the desired output. So in that case, that's what I do, is I will actually run the um, inner part of it and then take that result and run the outer part and then place back that subquery to give me the entire one. And what is also important, and this became important with the um, lost letters, was actually also going after the to and from address to make sure you had that correctly reasoned about, because you should be able to put in any to and from and get a similar output. Okay, just giving you some of my approaches here. So what you're going to do for this attendance is I'm going to walk you through how I would do the join for the last letter and how I am going to introduce a new concept called an identifier. And this is really important, okay? Because these identifiers can first help you write join if you're using the same table. And in our case, for the lost letter, you needed to use the addresses. But I also show you how to use identifiers in the setup as well, just for the other tables in there. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to work through this, all right? So you're going to create a new file from the week 8, remove any of the previous queries, and you can use again that POW-A for the output. So you'll work through this. This will be worth 70 points, okay? So make sure you do commits along the way. Make sure you do the proof of work and the get workflows, and then include comments for the identifiers in your code. This is really important because then if you're going back to look at it, you will understand why you put those in there. Okay. So 15 points for posting about your thoughts on the refactor and replying to another student here. Okay, also reach out for any additional questions about any of the content that I've covered here. So now you can go watch this and code along. All right, I'll talk to you later.